The orbital station Nexus 7 hummed with the constant motion of countless species going about their business. In the lower market district, where flickering lights alternated between amber and sickly green, Jiggy moved through the crowd with practiced ease. She wasn't particularly tall for a human, but her presence carried weight. Something in the way she held herself, the slight hitch in her gait from an old injury, the scars tracing up her neck into her cropped hair. Behind her, struggling to keep pace, was Alex, 12 standard years old, skinny as a rail, his wide brown eyes still shining with wonder despite 3 months on this godforsaken station. He had been orphaned when the colony transport Meridian suffered a catastrophic failure. Jiggy had pulled him from the wreckage, along with 5 others. The others had families. Alex had no one. He had Jiggy. "Stay close," she muttered, not looking back, her hand resting casually on the plasma pistol at her hip. Casual but ready. "I am close," Alex protested, nearly tripping over a Quellan merchant's tentacle. Sorry. The Quellan burbled something irritated but moved on. Jiggy allowed herself a ghost of a smile. The kid was learning. 3 months ago he would have frozen entirely. They were heading to Dock 23, where Jiggy had arranged passage on a freighter heading rimward. It wasn't much, but it was away from here, away from consortium patrols asking questions about unlicensed human operatives. Then she felt it. The prickle at the back of her neck that had kept her alive through 2 wars and a dozen life-threatening scrapes. They were being followed. Jiggy's eyes flicked to a polished metal storefront, catching the reflection. 3 figures moving with too much precision through the crowd. Very expensive mercenaries. "Alex," she said quietly, "when I say run, you run straight for Dock 23. Don't stop. Don't look back. Captain Velen knows me. Tell him I sent you. You don't come out until you hear my voice. Understand?" "Yes, ma'am," he said, eyes wide. Smart kid. Jiggy led them into a narrower corridor, away from the main market. The CRE followed. She'd known they would. This was the moment of truth. Were they after her specifically, or just opportunistic slavers? The answer came when one raised a neural binder. Slavers, then. And they'd made their biggest mistake. Assuming a human woman and a human child were easy prey. "Run!" Jiggy barked. Alex bolted. The boy was fast. Good. One of the CRE moved to intercept him, and that's when Jiggy struck. Humans weren't the strongest species in the galaxy. Not the fastest. Not the smartest. But humans had something most species had lost over millennia. An absolute, bone-deep capacity for violence when protecting their own. Her fist found the first CRE's throat, the weak point where the neck seal met the chest plate. The mercenary gasped, and then collapsed. The second raised his binder, but Jiggy was already inside his reach. She grabbed his weapon arm with both hands and twisted. The CRE shrieked as the joint bent the wrong way. She took the binder from his limp grasp and smashed it across his armored face. The third CRE had Alex by the arm. Everything went instinctive. Jiggy didn't remember crossing the distance, didn't remember the exact sequence of movements. She only remembered the feeling of the CRE's arm in her hands, the sound it made when she ripped it free from the socket. The commander screamed, a high, keening sound that echoed off the metal walls. Blue blood sprayed the corridor. The severed arm twitched once in her hand before she dropped it. Alex froze, staring. "I said, run," Jiggy said, her voice deadly calm despite the blood roaring in her ears. This time, the boy obeyed. The other 2 CRE scrambled to their feet but froze, looking at their commander writhing on the ground, at the severed limb, at the human woman standing over him with blue blood on her hands and murder in her eyes. "You want to know the difference between you and me?" Jiggy said, voice low and cold. "You see easy prey. I see someone I need to protect. And there is nothing in this galaxy or the next that will stop me from protecting that kid." She kicked the commander's weapon away and turned to the remaining 2. "You've got 30 seconds before station security arrives. I suggest you take your friend and disappear. Tell whoever sent you, tell everyone in this sector, humans may not have many rules, but the ones we do have, we'll burn the whole station down to enforce them." The CRE exchanged glances. Then they grabbed their commander and dragged him away, leaving a trail of blue blood behind. Jiggy stood, letting the adrenaline drain. Her hands trembled. Not from fear, never from fear, but from the effort of restraining herself from finishing what they had started. She had been called a monster more than once, by enemies, by allies. She had never cared, but she didn't want Alex to see her that way. When they reached Dock 23, Alex was waiting with Captain Velen. a former Tetroni with kind eyes and a ship that had seen better decades. Your human came back, Velen said, mandibles clicking in what might have been amusement. The boy said there was trouble. Trouble's handled, Jiggy said. Alex ran into her arms, crashing against her. You came back, he said, voice muffled against her jacket. Always, Jiggy said, resting a blood-stained hand on his head. I'll always come back. Velen watched with interest. I heard the station alert. 3 CRE mercenaries reported a violent assault. 1 lost an arm. Self-defense, Jiggy said flatly. I'm sure, the captain said. The interesting part is the CRE are already gone, quietly, efficiently. The galaxy knows much about humans. Your endurance, adaptability, your stubborn refusal to die when you should. But sometimes we forget the most important thing. What's that? That humans will sacrifice everything for those they call family. Not out of duty, honor, or law, but because something in your species will not allow otherwise. Velen's mandibles clicked. It's terrifying and admirable. Jiggy said nothing. Alex squeezed tighter. Your passage is still valid, Velen continued. We leave in an hour. Get cleaned up before then. Later on the ship, Alex finally asked the question she expected. Why did you do it? Rip his arm off? I mean, you could have just shot them or something. Jiggy looked at him, really looked at him. At the way he tried to make sense of violence he was too young to fully grasp. Because they touched you, she said simply. And I needed to make sure they understood what happens when someone touches my kid. Alex blinked. Your kid. Jiggy felt a tightening in her chest. She had never said it aloud before. Yeah, she said quietly. My kid, if that's okay with you. Alex smiled, bright, genuine, despite everything. Yeah, that's okay. Jiggy realized maybe she wasn't a monster. Or maybe she was, and it didn't matter. Monsters could protect people too. Maybe that was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Understanding that sometimes you needed monsters on your side. Outside the viewport, Nexus 7 shrank to a dot among endless stars. Somewhere on the station, a CRE commander was learning to function with one arm and spreading the word. Don't touch the humans young. A lesson the galaxy would do well to remember. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.